Okay.
What do you want me to cue myself?
Oh yes, please.
Okay, I'm Gregory Sams, and I've been going to crazy events since 1967 with Stones free concerts in the park, and my brother and I catered the first Glastonbury Festival. Been very involved in natural organic foods, created the first veggie burger, and then after I sold that, I discovered chaos theory. I read a fabulous book about chaos theory, which shows us how the universe self-organizes from the bottom up rather than the top down. And this really changed my life because I knew some of this stuff already, but as that was how things happened, I didn't realize there was no science saying, yes, this really is going on. And that led me to write the book that informed the talk I gave earlier, which is called Uncommon Sense, The State is Out of Date. And it really shows us how powerful we are as people, how well we create structures from the bottom up without planning, whether it's the airline industry, the food distribution, restaurants. I used an example in my recent talk about the shoe industry, all the different types of shoes that we get to wear. And can you imagine what it would be like if the government thought shoes were so important they had to decide what varieties and types and colors of shoes were available? And everywhere we look, we find government things really going wrong, whether it's their education, their health service, their protection, prisons, courts, overcrowded, overspending, not delivering what they're supposed to, and yet nobody ever complains about the shoe industry, or the music industry, or even the car industry, or the bicycle industry. They all respond to change, they're doing it, and so my crusade is to get people to expect less of government, not more. Because every time we expect more of government, they want more of our money, and then we have less money to be healthy and happy and fed and housed with, because very little of what they take gets sprinkled back. So much goes in salaries, wars, stupid schemes, and even the stuff they get back often goes to the wrong places. We have multi-millionaires getting government subsidies of hundreds of thousands of pounds. It's not a question of who gets what from the government, it's a question of giving the government less so they don't pit wealthy people against poor people. If they didn't take our money, there'd be far less poor people. There'd be far less huge corporations, because governments love corporations. They can dip into 20,000 pockets at once instead of having to expect 20,000 people to pay them up and to cough it up to them. They love chains of restaurants. So you have, why can't I open a restaurant? I'm a really good cook. I really know about food. Why couldn't I open a restaurant up in my own house? Invite the neighbors in, charge them. It's against so many laws to do something that's so natural to us. And one of the things that helped me realize it was going to hippie festivals. Can you hear me over this? Going to hippie festivals and seeing this wealth of trade, people setting up chai shops with musicians playing, getting clothes made in India, really cool psychedelic clothes, selling them at the festivals. And it's a natural, we can do this stuff, but they weren't keeping books and analyzing how much their power was, tracking their taxes, all the things that you need, not necessarily a college education, but training for and a head for. And it just weeds out so much enterprise and initiative and leaves us with this bloody corporate culture where you have to have all these unnatural skills in order to perform the natural functions of human beings trading with each other. So the power of freedom is what I would like to call my book, which is I will show you the book here to camera because I'm very proud of it. Changed a lot of lives, but I'm not finding it. So yeah, here it is. Uncommon Sense, The State is Out of Date. This was written 15 years ago, but it's being re-released in September as a low-price ebook, and later on as a paper book. And I'm arguing with my publishers over the title. I like The Power of Freedom, but they want something else, so I'm struggling with that at the moment.
Good.
But
actually, it's good name for it.
Uncommon Sense.
Yes.
Maybe. It's a play on a book called Common Sense, which was written in the 18th century, that very few people have heard of. But it was the best-selling book worldwide of the 18th century. It was written by a wonderful man called Thomas Paine. And very few, when the American Revolution began, it wasn't a revolution. It was a tax protest. And Americans wanted, their colonies wanted representation in Parliament so they could argue about these taxes. Thomas Paine wrote a book called Common Sense. Said, no, let's get rid of the king. We don't need this garbage. We can look after ourselves, form our own government. And that turned this tax revolt into the Revolutionary War. Common Sense also inspired the French Revolution, which went a little bit, didn't go quite as smoothly. So that's why it's called Uncommon Sense. And because people don't know that, I'm thinking of changing the title, but maybe I should keep it. I'll have to think about it because I've got to.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.